Welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Armstrong Avenue podcast with Scott Armstrong, and I'm Big Mike. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Big Mike? What's up,
Oh,
everybody? Appreciate you coming into the another episode of the Armstrong Avenue podcast with Bullet Bob leading the way from 1982. What a unbelievable entrance
yeah,
that is for me every time. I always appreciate that very
yeah,
much.
yeah. And what an amazing time period that was in wrestling and everything. And we can get into more talk on that later because I have been absorbing so much of continental southeastern that it is just blowing my mind right now. And I got something special to show you later on in the episode. I can't wait. But right now, before we get started on anything, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Bones Coffee Company and Collar and Elbow. They're so great to us, and we're just so thankful for both of them.
Bones Coffee Company, right? You can't say enough. I mean, look, they give us a lot of love, and then on top of that, they have unbelievable coffee. And so, anybody that's listening, you already know you get 15% off with code Armstrong. So if you decide to order, you'll be doing yourself a favor, and you'll save a little money. So big shout out, big thank you to Bones Coffee.
Yep. Same with Collar and Elbow. You know, you use code Armstrong. That same code works for both of them. You get 10% off any shirt, any hat, maybe whatever you like at Collar and Elbow. Use that code to get 10% off of it. And still another week, I'm waiting on Collar and Elbow to put out that Armstrong Avenue T-shirt.
I'm sure they're working on it right now, dude. Hey,
I,
look,
I think
they're
so.
truly good people. And look, it's like you had said an episode or two ago, that their quality of shirts, second to none. You put it on, it feels so good. And so, and look, I can't think if it feels that good. And then on top of that, you put Armstrong Avenue Pod on the front of it. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, come on. You
phenomenal.
can't lose.
You can't lose whenever you get that Armstrong T-shirt, man.
Amen. Amen.
But dude, this week in wrestling, another backstage incident at AEW.
Yeah.
Has Tony Khan lost a locker room? Did he ever have it? Is the real question.
I mean, look, I don't, I don't know. I don't, I can't, I know immediately in my 20s, I would have said, oh, well, let me tell you this. A little older, a little wiser, I hope. And I hear all this, and all I am is hearing it. And so it's all secondhand information.
Yeah.
I can't, I can't say right, wrong, or indifferent. I can only tell you that I know Andrade. I know Andrade very well. I knew him prior to he and Charlotte getting married. I knew him when he first came into WWE.
Hmm.
I have sat next to him in restaurants. I know the guy, the human being he is, and he's a solid, good man. And so I personally can't say. And look, I always say this on every episode. I try to treat people how they treat me, and that man always treated me like a good, solid individual. And so I can't say anything disrespectful about him. I can tell you I've produced his matches. I have watched his matches. Um, his work is solid. Uh, Back in the day, we would have said he is solid in safe places, which means he can lay it in on your chest and back, and he can be very solid in his work. And that's the way I always saw him, was being solid. Um, in today's time, look, I have not been in the ring and wrestled a match in a decade. So I don't know if guys are screaming and yelling about, he hit me too hard. Look, it's wrestling. It's as simple as that. And I don't know how guys in our business feel today. I really don't. If I can tell you this, back at what I have heard happened, don't know if it's true or not. can't put my hand on the Bible and say, well, this happened. I can't do that. All I have is hearsay. But if the hearsay that I got was correct, I would tell you that back in the day, it would have been, hey, you guys come in here. And then everybody would have left the room and left those two dudes in there and let them figure it out. And it would either be an end in a handshake or a 911 call. But at the end of it, you'd open the door and there would be a solution. Look, I don't know. I can't tell you about Tony Khan because, number one, I've never met the guy. I don't know anything about him. All I know is he owns and operates AEW. And look, once Cody left and he was kind of the reason that it all started, or that's the way it came off to the public, I really don't know that either. Once Cody left, it was very eye-opening. I do know a few people who have had talks and then not gone in. I don't know the details of any of that. I just don't. I don't ask. I know my phone hasn't rang with them saying, hey, Scott, can you come to work for AEW? That hasn't happened. I just watch it on TV. I look at social media, and it's the same thing with WWE. I watch it on TV, and I look at it on social media. I'm not involved. Same thing with Impact. Look at it on TV, look at it on social media. I'm not involved with any wrestling other than IWN, main event, independent shows. I get multiple calls during the week about working independent shows, and look, it's fun. It is fun. I get to be a wrestling fan all over again. But going back to the original question you asked about the Andrade Sammy thing, I truly don't know the details. And I heard they sent Andrade home. Then I also heard that, well, he really didn't have anything on the show. So it worked out for him just to go ahead and leave. I don't know if any of that's true or not, Mike, to be totally honest with you. I have no clue. I feel like, look, this kid, I don't know this kid. At the end of the day, you know me, I've always said, is the 12-year-old kid at home, the 12-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever, mowing his front yard on a Saturday morning, looking up at his dad on the porch going, hey, Dad, Sammy's in town. Can we go see him? Or is he saying, Andrade's in town. Can we go see him? You know what I mean? Which one's going to draw the money? Because honestly, this is a business.
Yeah.
It really is a business. And if that 12-year-old kid mowing the yard wants to go see Andrade, well, that's who the boss has to listen to, is because that 12-year-old kid will bring a family of 4, usually. And that's 4 ticket sales. That's 4 times the T-shirt sales. That's 4 times. And if nobody's looking at it like that, then it just makes whatever company it is a joke. This is a business.
Yeah. And
wrestling is a business. And superstars are just that. They're superstars. They are the people that the 12-year-old mowing the yard will say, hey, I want to go see that guy. And I promise you they're doing that when it comes to Roman Reigns and the Usos. They're saying, hey, can we go see the Bloodline? Because they're entertaining. It's fun. It's all over the place. So it's a blast.
Yeah. They the highest grossing T-shirt sale probably currently is the honorary Oos shirt, which was the smartest marketing I have ever seen for a shirt. That shirt sale on that night went boom, way up, and it's not stopped. I guarantee it. The minute I seen it, I said that was the smartest way to put out a new Bloodline shirt.
Yes,
everybody wants to be an honorary Oos,
right? Yes, yes. And Sami Zayn, look, he's every man. You know what I mean? He really is. So, and he's an honorary Oos. He gets it. Sami Zayn's always been there. He gets it. and
He's absolute gold.
he
Anything he
is.
touches is gold. I don't care. I will take that to the grave.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. He is.
Speaking of the bloodline, we've talked about him before, Solo Sikoa. He's doing phenomenal on the main roster.
He is.
SmackDown, Raw, everything. Everything
Yeah.
he touches, he's doing great, and he's taking it with stride.
Listen, I've always said it. They have not made a Samoan from that bloodline, literally from that bloodline, Afa and Sika. There hasn't been one yet that couldn't tear the house down if they had the opportunity to get in the ring.
Yep.
And Solo Sikoa is, look, it's like the baby brother of the Armstrong family was Road Dogg. And I mean, his career is second to none. You look at what he did in his career and his body of work, and now he's back with WWE. And you look at all that and go, wow. Well, it's the same thing with Solo Sikoa. He's the baby brother of the Usos, and now look at him, just literally one of the guys that you go, oh wow, he's coming to town too. Oh, I want to see him too. I want to see him. I want to see him with the Usos. I want to see him the entire group with Roman Reigns. I mean, man, if you're going to sell me a package that's beautifully wrapped, that's the package.
Yeah.
And so there's another one out there, the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. And look, I don't know if WWE will ever sign him. Will they not sign him? No matter what, when he steps in the ring, he has everybody's attention. It's just that the bloodline, man. It's perfect. That signature is just perfect for that family. And like I said before, the most money drawing family in the history of our business. And if anybody says, well, that's not true, I want you to show me the numbers.
Yep.
Because that family, as long as I've been alive, as long as I can remember wrestling, the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika, all the way down, kids, nephews, it's unbelievable. So it's fun to watch, and I'm proud that I'm able to do that in my lifetime.
Yep. And what you said, being the highest grossing and highest drawing, and not a lot of people, when you bring up families in wrestling families, people always talk about the Armstrongs, the Von Erichs. A lot of your casual fans don't sit there and think about the Samoan bloodline. They don't talk about that because it's not. It's always the who was better, the Von Erichs or the Armstrongs or this or that. And when in all honesty, you are absolutely correct.
Yes. Listen, at the end of the day, how many dollars came through the door? This is, like I said, this is a business. How many dollars came through the door? From the Von Erich family in the territory days, from the Armstrong family in the territory days, or the Samoan dynasty, the bloodline from the beginning. I mean, literally, as far anybody listening to this, I promise you, Afa and Sika was already wrestling when you were born. So you think of Afa and Sika, and they were in WWF. So they've literally come down the line, and all their family members, they have produced more dollars through the gate than any family in the history. I think anyway. Look, the Hart family. Oh my gosh, man, unbelievable! They drew tons of money. But the Samoans from start to finish, the Samoan dynasty, oh my gosh, man, come on. Yeah. Hey, look, call it like it is. You don't have to tell me, the Armstrong. No, man, that's not true. I'm the first one to be honest about everything. Yep. And that's the reality is the Samoan dynasty is they're awesome. I'm a fan.
From the Wild Samoans to Yokozuna.
Yes.
To Rikishi to
Umaga.
Umaga, Rosie, I mean, you throw Nia Jax, she's in there.
Tonga Kid, it's crazy, man.
Even people who aren't in WWE, like you said, Jacob Fatu, Juicy Fatu.
Yeah,
I mean, the people. It's like every time I turn around, there's a new Samoan popping up on the indies that is a Fatu, and they're phenomenal.
Not only a new Samoan, but they can work. They can climb through the ropes and tear the house down. It's true, man.
It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing what they can do, and I cannot wait to see Solo Sikoa's career progress
Yeah,
and where he's going to go. Because
yeah,
honestly, he just started, and
it's
you know,
true.
and
That's
he's
very
already a draw, and
yes,
he's already that talented.
yep,
He could be, I don't like to go. He could be. I can't wait to see what he's going to be.
yeah. No,
That's
you're right. You're right, and he's going to be a major star with WWE for a long time. Health prevails. He's good. He's good to go.
yep. Yeah, I agree. I am excited, really excited. What I'm also excited about is the Superstars Fan Fest, October 22nd. You are going to be there. I was just told today that Action Mike Jackson is going to be there. I am going to be there. You guys come see me if you're in Rome. I'll be wandering around with I'll be the guy that looks like Dutch Mantel back in the day with short hair, hairy.
Uh, Dude, I'm looking forward to it. Rome, Georgia, Superstars Fan Fest, October 22nd. It's a Saturday. I'm really looking forward to being a part of that. With GT, I'll be sitting at the booth with GT Collectibles. It's a collectible group out of Texas, and so I'll be sitting at the booth with them for, autographs and pictures and just to say hello. And look, I always look forward to these kind of things because you get to talk to fans and they remember things. Look, I started doing this when I was 22, and needless to say, I'm not 22 anymore. And so you get to talk to fans who say, "Hey, remember that time you wrestled so and so?" And that kind of stuff just, man, it makes you feel so good
Yeah.
that they would remember something that you did. And I know I told you about the one that I did, Ric Flair's last match that my brother Road Dogg and I did. And the guy literally showed me the picture of me holding him as a baby when he was 2 years old. And now look, I don't know how old he is now, but he's a little older than two. But he brought the picture with him and said, "Look, this is you holding me." And it was so funny. But did I remember that exact moment in time? I did not. But did I remember the town we wrestled in and Smoky Mountain Wrestling? And then we ended up FaceTiming his mom. And it was just so cool and so fun to, number one, to be remembered, but number two, to be able to see that you touched somebody's life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was awesome. So I'm really looking forward to this October 22nd and the whole Superstar Fan Fest and autographs all day. And then that night, there's an actual show there, wrestling show. And I'm going to referee a match on it. So I'm really looking forward to that, too. It's going to be a fun day in Rome, Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be up there. I don't have a booth. I'll just be wandering around. I'll probably
with a tin can that says "I'm Big Mike, the host." Please
Yep, this is me.
donate.
Yep. I'll if Collar and Elbow will put out the shirt by then, I'll be wearing it.
Hey, me too. If
Look,
they put out the shirt by then, I promise I'll be wearing it while I sell the autograph. That'll be
but
awesome.
I'm excited about that event, and like I said last time, one of the main reasons I'm excited is because of my friend Jason. I'm
Yeah.
so
Oh,
proud
yeah.
of him. I talked to him the other day, and I told him that I shouted him out on the podcast, and he listened to it, and he called me crying. No, no, I love that dude, man. I'm so proud for him and happy for him. And we've been brainstorming ideas on how me and him can work together on some comic stuff because
Oh,
I'm kind of smart with that kind of thing too. I just don't know how to do it. But
well, dude, hey, look, you work with me on a podcast. That's comedy enough.
hey, look, man, it rubs off. The genius rubs off on me.
I'm
So
literally I'm my wife's birthday is like the week of that 22nd. So I told her, I said, "Hey, let's go to the mountains. We'll go up to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and stay a couple of days, and then come back through there, do the Rome, Georgia show, and then head down." And I have a friend of mine, Christy, that lives up there, and I've already tweeted her direct message and said, "Hey, how's the weather up there?" And is Dollywood still open? Because look, she was honest with me. She said, "Look, text me before you come up here because you better start layering." Down here, look, this week we had 88 degrees and beautiful sunshine, and
yeah,
it's Pensacola Beach. Up there, 45 degrees at night, 78 in the day. So I need to. So I told Christy, I said, "Hey, let me know how that weather is, and I need everybody to let me know if you got to hook up Dollywood, so I can
I
take my wife. Otherwise, she's not going."
I usually have a good hookup somewhere, but not
Well,
there, not
holler
there.
at the mountains.
Yeah, yeah. I will. I don't have anybody there, but no. And then the following weekend, you're going to be in Thomaston, Georgia,
That's
at the
exactly right. October 29th, Saturday night. And I'm actually going to come in a day early because of the new show that's on coming to IWN. Is it already on there yet, Mike?
No, it will be November 1st. We're dropping the first episode, and I'm telling you, the pride I have that I was able to put this together, and
It's
I don't. I,
so
I
let's tell them about it. It's called The Lost Territories. Go
Yes.
ahead.
And it's something that I kind of brainstormed, and I've talked to you about it before we put it together. But really, it's about the territory days, but mainly about Southeastern Continental, because there's nothing out there that talks about that stuff. And it's if anybody is a fan of those days, anybody's a fan of territory wrestling, you've probably seen Action Mike Jackson. He wrestled everywhere with everybody. Phenomenal human being. I think the world of him. He is the host of it, and he is bringing guests on, such as Chick Donovan, Scott Armstrong, Austin Idol, other people from those days, and even people who are in the wrestling business who may not have wrestled during those days, but are going to come in and talk about these matches and these territories and what they meant to wrestling, what the people meant to wrestling. And it is a phenomenal show. We filmed it. We were filming today, and I sat there and watched them talk and pulled the matches up, and it's just so incredible what the stories and the people, and I'm so excited about it. I cannot
And,
explain how excited.
and so I know the listener is probably wondering, oh, you just sit and watch these two guys. No, you watch the actual matches
Yeah,
from yesteryear, and you get to see those matches and hear myself and Mike Jackson. You get to hear our take on the matches and our take on that time of life in the wrestling business. And it's look, it's something that's being missed out in the wrestling industry. There's nothing like it where you just yeah. I mean, I know WWE on their show has a thing where people sit in a room and they talk about what they're watching live, but that's not what this is. These are the matches of yesteryear and old school territory matches and territory TV matches. And you get Mike Jackson, Chick Donovan, myself, and Mike Jackson. And we're talking about those matches as we're watching them. And so it's a totally different feel. And so it's really cool. And again, download that IWN app.
yep.
It's easy as downloading any app and
It's
put your
100% free to
yeah.
download, and it's going to be exclusively on the IWN app, and you
And tell
guys
me
are going to love it.
tell me about all your hookups in Thomaston since I'm coming there on the 29th.
You're going to be there the 28th, and
I'm coming in the 28th.
I'm going to have to take you to my favorite Mexican restaurant,
Awesome. What's it called?
Sabrosos.
Sobrosos. Okay,
Yeah,
deal.
that is my favorite Mexican restaurant, and they
That's
are one of the they. I'll tell you something. Sabrosos, the woman who owns it, her name's Priscilla. She sponsors every wrestling event we do. She is a
bless
huge
her heart.
supporter. She has a younger brother who's a huge wrestling fan. And he loves it. We do a pre-party the night before every show we do in Thomaston. We bring a pre-party to her building,
Awesome.
bring some people out.
I definitely want to be a part of that.
So I think this time we're even trying to get a DJ to come in and do something really cool there, man. We're gonna have some fun. We I think we eat there like twice a week almost for lunch, just because number one, they're the coolest people in the world, and number two, the food is incredible. It is the
Well,
best
Mike,
Mexican you'll find.
listen, as long as you're buying, I don't care.
Look, I'll buy the first round.
Deal.
But speaking of the lost territories and the days of the territory days, and I got something today from Mike Jackson, and he brought. So if you, I sent you the picture of the set,
Yeah.
that we're doing. And on the fans, whenever you see it, you can go on my on the IWN Twitter page and see it's IWN Wrestling at Twitter. And I posted a picture of the set and some backstage things. On the wall behind Mike Jackson, we put Mike Jackson has hundreds of old posters from the territories from his time wrestling, hundreds of them. I picked one I wanted. I said, Mike, I'm gonna buy this from you, and I did. And
What,
I don't know when this was from.
What did he charge you?
I got a discount.
Bessemer Faith Academy. Okay, November 16th.
So it's the main event was the Continental Tag Title match. Wildcat Wendell Cooley and Nightmare Danny Davis versus Robert Fuller and Jimmy Golden.
Wow.
Then you had the Southeastern Heavyweight title match, The Bullet versus Dirty Dutch Mantell. The Alabama Heavyweight title match, Dirty White Boy versus Doug Furnace.
Doug Furnace. I remember that dude. Huge, big-time superstar in Tennessee because he was the starting running back for a couple of years for Tennessee. Yeah. And he big power lifter too. God rest his soul, bless his heart.
Dude was massive.
Yeah, he was.
Then you had a challenge tag team match, which was the Down South Southern Boys, or Tracy Smothers and Steve Armstrong.
Yep, Steve and Tracy. They were the wild-eyed Southern
That's
boys.
what it was. Yep.
Then they were the Young Pistols. They had a good run as tag team. Went to Japan for years as a tag team. They had a good run.
And then they faced Jonathan Boyd and Mike Golden.
Yeah, Jonathan Boyd. Man, that's a name from the past. Mike Golden, good dude out of Georgia.
And then the excuse me, United States Junior Heavyweight title match, Larry Hamilton versus Scott Armstrong.
Yes, I remember that feud. We had a feud. Man, that's an old poster.
Yeah, man.
That is an old poster. I would say, gosh, 90? I don't know. Does it have an actual year on it, Mike?
It does not. It just says November 16th.
And look, I may be way off. It may be late 80s. I know Doug Furnace started wrestling, I want to say in 87, so maybe that was 88. Anyway, late 80s to 90, but not 90s, probably late 80s. Wow, man, that's awesome.
And then it also had Mike Jackson and Tom Pritchard.
Yeah, Dr. Tom. I mean, look, Mike Jackson's a legend in the South, and Dr. Tom is a legend, period. Love Dr. Tom, man. He's a great dude. He and my brother Brad were best friends.
Yep.
It's loved hearing that name. Man, that's an old school poster for sure. I mean, 30 years easy.
Yeah. Whenever he started pulling the posters out, I was like, oh man, these are awesome. Because nowadays posters are printed on flimsy paper. Back then that's like cardboard or stock almost.
Yes. Yeah.
And he said the reason why is because they would put them on telephone poles.
Right.
And if you put paper on it, it wouldn't hold up. So you get those big, thick ones. And
yep. I can remember. Look, I know we've talked about it. I did everything in this business. I can remember getting 100 posters sent to my house and driving to like Greenville, Alabama, which is 2 hours away, and literally driving from business to business, or just taking 10 in my hand and walking down Main Street and saying, hey, Scott Armstrong with Southeastern Wrestling, we got a show coming up in a couple of weeks. Do you mind if I put a poster up? Some people would go, yeah, we don't do that, I'm sorry. Some people would go, yeah, go ahead. And I had my tape in my hand. I just put it on their window and tape it up where people could see it. And it never failed. And anybody that's ever had an indie show of their own or ever run a wrestling show, you already know. You go in there, you drive to the town, do all that work, and then some other independent promoter comes in and starts ripping your posters down, and you just go, man. I remember one time too, I couldn't go to the town, and so I called a guy I knew. I said, hey, I'll pay you if you will go and put these posters up. And he said, yeah, no problem. I'll come by your house and get the posters. And he did. And I paid him. And he goes to the town and he puts them on every telephone pole. And like 3 days later, I get a call from the sheriff of that town, and he said, "Hey man, you can't put your posters on our telephone poles." And I went, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." He goes, "Yeah, there's about 100 posters." I just started laughing. I thought, my buddy that did that for me, he didn't go in one store. All he did was stop at every telephone pole and put a poster up. I said,
That's
"Hey man,
awesome.
what can you do? It's the
That's
Indians."
awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
that's we since I assist with main event, I just kind of do whatever they need me to do. I'll put my share of posters out. I'll
Yeah.
print, hundreds of them, and then we give them to some people to put out, but I put them out, and then I'll ride by and see the gas station door and it's gone, and I'll
Right.
pull back in and throw another one back up,
Yeah.
but hey,
Hey,
it's all a grind, man. That's what it
it,
is.
it is. Hey, look, promotion. It was presented to me one time like this. Promotion is like making a cake. You have to have all the ingredients:
Mhm,
television, newspaper, radio, social media,
mhm.
um, visual, like posters. You have to have all that in every direction to make the human mind go, "Oh, they have wrestling in town." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And look, I know with WWE in Pensacola, the last time they were here, they set a record, and it really it killed me because I was not a part of that show. So I thought, oh man. So I inquired, and what they did was they did a whole bunch of advertising on Facebook. And so if you were in the area and you went on Facebook to, if you and I were going to talk to each other on Facebook, the ad would pop up for wrestling because I was in Pensacola and I was reaching out to you. And so it drew people from farther away from Pensacola into Pensacola to come to the show because they saw the advertising. And
Yeah.
and so look, I'm old school. I'm the poster guy. I'm the radio guy. I'm the go to the TV station and buy a couple of ads guy, or buy an ad in the newspaper. Which, does newspaper even exist anymore? I don't even know.
We have a local newspaper, and we have advertised in it. But they only print what they sell. They have their subscriber list, and they print
Oh,
that. That is
I
it.
gotcha. Well, may need to look into that Facebook gig, man, because that it sure
I
works here in Pensacola. I'm telling you,
Yep,
it was a lesson learned.
I've advertised on Facebook for the wrestling shows. For the last one that I helped promote, they said, "Hey, Mike, we want you to promote this," and that's what I did. I promoted it hard. I got Facebook ads out. I put um, whatever they told me they wanted put out. That's what we did.
Yeah,
Um, I'd I'd make the posters, print them out, and give them to the team of guys to go put out. We make little magazines
yeah,
that
awesome.
we put out in stores, and then we got Subway in town, the manager, which you met him when you came to town.
Yes, I did. Yes,
He
me
he
and
tell
me and my brother both did.
he talks about it every time I see him. He's like, dude, I'll never because I made him do the gimmick.
Yeah, yeah. There's my brother in the middle of Subway saying, "Oh, you didn't know." But hey, if you only knew, that's my brother. He would do it in the friggin' in the Publix or the Winn Dixie. He doesn't care.
It wa It's funny, but he's a big wrestling fan, so we give him and his wife some tickets to come to the shows, and we make a specific book that is big enough to put in every one of their sandwich bags
Oh, that's awesome.
for the
That's
wrestling show.
really,
It
yeah,
it
that's very cool.
it shows, like, maybe 3 or 4 of the matches we're gonna have, and then it puts all of our sponsors in it, and then
So is that another hookup for me when I come
you want a
on the
sub sandwich? Yeah, I'll call him.
28th and 29th? Give me a Subway.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, look, man, look, there's all kind of good food in Thomaston. It's a good spot to eat. There's a really good sandwich shop that's not Subway, and it's owned by some Mennonites, which is kind of Amish like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
And so
make
they're gonna hook me up too.
I don't know if they're wrestling fans, but uh,
Well, we
we'll
got
get
to
you a
get it.
sandwich for lunch during that filming day. I'll go
There
get some
you go.
sandwiches.
Now you're talking. And
They
right,
every
right
time I
it
go
off.
Yeah. Every time I go eat there, I get a Cajun turkey sandwich with bacon. Um, with
It's good.
It's phenomenal on Hawaiian bread with a piece of strawberry cake. And it is
Uh,
the best. I don't know
uh,
how they make their cakes, but they are like my
well,
grandmother.
hey, I can tell you one thing. It probably ain't as good as Bones Coffee.
No, it's not. No, it is not. And I think Bones Coffee does have a strawberry cake flavor. So if anybody
Oh,
is interested,
there you go.
look, it's I,
There
I
you
still like I
go.
still like the rainbow unicorns, but get what you can, man.
Put your
Get what
collar and elbow shirt on, have a
Yep.
nice Bones cup of coffee. You good to go.
Have a great time, man. But I have so preparing for this show and getting everything together for the Lost Territories. I have been watching Continental, Southeastern, and then I've actually been watching some Mid South also, just because I want to get as much of it as I can, and just
Yep.
the talent that some of these guys had, you guys had, and it doesn't get talked about enough,
No, it's
and how
not.
smooth it's just incredible. I could so I watched in Mid South last night. My son and I, my 4-year-old, we watch wrestling together. My wife, she says it's probably a reason he always wants to fight with me. But
Yes, it is. It
but
is.
but we watched Mid South yesterday, and it was Kerry Von Erich and your brother Brad against the Dirty White Boys.
Oh wow, yeah. Lynn Denton and Tony Anthony were the Dirty White Boys. That's awesome.
And that was one of my favorite matches I think I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Everybody in it was just so smooth. The storytelling was phenomenal, and you talk about him all the time, but Brad was just a phenomenal worker.
He was without a doubt. Ask anybody, even in today's times. At NXT where they train all the up and comers, when they tell guys, if you want to, guys, they don't understand being a heel or a baby face, and it's taught down there. If you want to be a baby face, just go back to your place and watch videos on YouTube of Brad Armstrong. And um, I didn't, I've told you on this podcast before, my dad's words to me right before I walked out for my very first match: just stand on the apron and watch your brother. And that's what I did, and I was able to do that. We had a long run as a tag team, year and a half or so, and so I was able to stand there and just watch him. And man, he was great, no doubt about it. And he had a good run over there in Mid South, and that was Louisiana and Texas and Oklahoma, and he had a really good run. And I'll never forget. That's where he met Tim Horner and White Lightning and Tim Horner, and they became the Lightning Express. And they had a good run over there as a tag team. But I'll never forget Brad. He was working that territory. In that territory, they did a lot of miles every week. I mean, like 2,500 to 3,000 miles or something like that every week. And so I remember Brad. I think they may have run Biloxi or something like that. Well, Biloxi's like 2 hours from here, here being Gulf Breeze, Pensacola Beach. And so Brad drove home and he said, Scotty, go with me. We're in the Superdome in New Orleans tomorrow night. He said, go with me. I'll bring you back home. I'll ask for the next day off and then I'll leave and go back. And I said, okay. And so, so he came home and got me, and then we home Gulf Breeze, Pensacola Beach, and then we drove back to the Superdome in New Orleans, and he was in like the second match, and he had a great match, and I said, okay, you ready to go? I thought we were going to just drive back to Pensacola. Look, at that time, I would have driven to the end of the earth just to watch him wrestle. I wasn't wrestling yet, and so he said. I said, are you ready to go? And he goes, no. We're not going to leave till the show is almost over. And I went, well, dude, we can get up. I mean, it'll be another hour and a half before the show's over. And he goes, no, we're going to stay. And I said, okay. So he went back in the locker room and I sat out in a seat. And then he came out there right before the main event. And the main event was Junkyard Dog. And I know everybody in the world knew him as Junkyard Dog. His name was Junkyard Dog Sylvester Ritter. And so it came time almost for his match, and Brad waved at me like, come on. Well, I thought we were leaving. So I go down there and start walking towards the door, and he goes, where are you going? I said, I thought we were leaving. He goes, no, come here, man. He said, this is the reason we stayed. I want you to see Junkyard Dog's entrance. And I said, okay. And so, to me, I didn't work that territory. So I didn't know the kind of star JYD was. I had no idea. And all of a sudden, his music hit, and about 50,000 people lost their minds. I mean, just lost. And I looked at Brad. I mean, it was useless to try to have a conversation with him because that's how loud the pop was. And I looked at him like, oh my God, man. Because look at Continental, we'd draw 7,000 or 8,000 people, and it would be a huge pop. But we're in the Superdome, and there's 50,000. It was nuts back then. And so he gets this unreal pop, and he gets in the ring, and he had a dog collar and a chain on, and he was swinging it, and he got in the ring, and when the music stopped, dude, I'm getting chills telling you about it. That's how cool it was. The whole building started chanting, who dat? Who dat? Who dat talking about beating that dog? Who dat? Who dat? Who dat talking about beating that dog? And dude, oh man, look, I wish you could see this. It was I looked at Brad, I couldn't believe it. I had been around the wrestling business as long as I could remember life. And I have never seen anybody that over ever. And to see that and realize, and then later in life get to really know Junkyard Dog and share locker rooms with him, and just a great dude. I always said if I owned a wrestling territory back then, I would have kept him on the payroll just to have him in the locker room. That's what a good dude he was, and just a great human being. And the world, when he passed away, the world lost a solid person and a positive influence on life. Just a good dude. But anyway, we drove home talking about it the whole way home, like, oh my God, man. And Brad said, that's the reason I wanted to stay, was just so you could feel that. He said, because I'm on the road and I get to see it and feel it every night. And he said, if you can't see it and feel it, you just can't. And Mike, it's weird because it was how many years later before my baby brother walked out and said, oh, you didn't know? And an entire arena, even at WrestleManias, thousands of people doing the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and doing that entire thing with him. The first time I ever heard him do it and the entire crowd saying it with him, I immediately thought of JYD back in the day and my brother Brad taking me to that. And I just thought, man, how cool is our industry, and how over is my snot-nosed baby brother? It's just, oh my gosh, man. Unbelievable. But, Mid-South Wrestling, they had Terry Taylor was there when he was young and just getting started. And Terry Taylor was man, when he climbed through the ropes, he could go. And I mean, go. I mean, like to this day, he is so underappreciated for his work. His work was unreal, man. He could go. And Jerry Stubbs, and I know we've talked about Jerry Stubbs on here before. Jerry Stubbs was a great talent, and he was over there with a mask on as Mr. Olympia and had an unbelievably muscled up body and a great wrestler. He was their champion for a while. But that Mid-South Wrestling, man, wow. I mean, and they drew crowds. Man, did they draw crowds.
Yeah, I seen Terry Taylor win their heavyweight championship. He beat Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
For it, and the crowd went crazy. And I
Yes.
was like, man, how over is the Rooster right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And Ted DiBiase, what a heel.
Yeah,
He had unbelievable heat at that time in Mid South. And
him
then
and
he went from Mid South. They both did. Went from Mid South to to Vince McMahon to WWF at the time.
yep, because at the time when I was watching on on Peacock, it was Terry Taylor was actually in a feud with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake was trying to screw him out of his title, and he still won. And it was just great, man. I really have been enjoying myself going back and watching these territory days more than I thought I would.
Yeah, no,
And
dude. The funny thing is, Mike, and people don't realize it nowadays, is the storylines you were going into in the territory days, you were going into the same arena every Monday night in the same town. And then you were doing it in the same arena on a Tuesday night in that town. And then on Wednesday night in that town. So you're in 5 or 6 different towns in a week, but you're doing those towns every week. And so the storylines had to hold up. And I know Continental survived with, like nowadays with WWE, when you see their advertising, it just says, coming to Pensacola, WWE, see Roman Reigns, see Drew McIntyre. And that may be all you hear. But back in the Continental days, it was only a 1-hour TV show. And what you got was, if, say, Scott Armstrong was in the very first match, there might, and Johnny and Davey Rich were a tag team in the second match, you would get an actual interview. It might only be 30 seconds, but you would hear Scott Armstrong take 15 of those seconds and go, hey, we're coming to Montgomery or Pensacola, Florida on Sunday night. I'll tell you something, Bill Ash, I'm coming at you. Get ready. So even though it was a nothing promo that really didn't mean a whole lot, the viewer in Pensacola got to see the actual wrestler who was coming to their town and mention their town and address the feud he was going to have when he gets there. And then Johnny and Davey Rich would say, that's right, Lord Jonathan Boyd and so on, Mike Golden, get ready, the tag team of the world's coming to you. We would take 30 seconds. And now the first and second match are covered. As the show went on, the mid-card guys might get a whole minute to talk, but they were on TV. And then the main event guys, well, they got time because they were the ones really selling the tickets.
Yeah.
And so the way it was in the territory days, everybody on your show was a star. Well, nowadays, with WWE, I always go to WWE because I worked for them for 16 years or whatever. But when you watch their television show, they have 3 hours to make stars. 3 hours on a Monday, 2 hours on a Friday. And when you have that kind of time, you don't need to hear from Scott Armstrong saying, I'll be here, get ready. You just need to see, oh, yeah. So then when you sit down in the arena, if they come to Pensacola and it's a Thursday night, and you sit down in the arena on a Thursday night and you see Scott Armstrong come to the ring, you go, oh, yeah, that's Scott Armstrong. I know him. I've seen him on their show before. Yeah. But when it gets towards mid-card or main event, well, those guys have had talking time. You know what I mean? They've been able to be on TV and become real superstars. And that's 2022, man. The territory days they had to tell good stories, and they had to tell them every week because that's how they survived. And then you look at 2022 and you walk into the writer's room and there's not many dudes your age. They're all younger than you. Mike, you're 28. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There aren't many guys in there your age. Most of them are younger than you. So they never went to a show from the territory days. They just watched it just like you're doing. Yeah. You're watching and going, oh man, that's cool. And they get to watch that and try to relive it and create. Look, I will be the first person to admit time rolls on, and it does. And storylines have to change because time changes. And and it moves forward. And so, some storylines I hear and go, wah, wah, wah. You know what I mean? And then some I hear and go, wow, that's genius. You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, it's all about ratings and box office. The end. It's a business. You know what I mean? But that's cool. I'm glad to hear that you're watching Mid-South and Continental stuff. That's
Yeah,
cool.
man. It's awesome, dude. I have enjoyed it, and I'm taking it in. I'm taking it all in because it's my first time seeing this stuff. So
Right.
so it's like, man, I'll never get to see this stuff for the first time again, and
Yes.
it's like being a kid. I'm like, oh my
Amen.
god, that's hilarious, or that was
Amen.
that was
Yes.
awesome, or I
Yes.
can't believe they did that back in the '80s.
Right.
These guys were doing things that people think are, oh my god, that's like game changing now. I'm like, they were doing it in the '80s.
Yeah.
And they were
That's
doing it better.
true. The old saying, everything old is new again. And
Yep.
it's true, right?
Yep. So, hey, man, before we end the episode, I got to get into some hashtag Ask Scott segments.
Oh, beauty.
So I did a little post on Twitter today and said, hey, what you guys got some questions? Let's see them. So first question from one of our favorite fans, Donnie D. He said, hashtag Ask Scott, when will we see a Scott Armstrong or Dixie Dynamite final match?
Hey, Donnie D, you may have already seen it. I will say this. Look, as you get older, your body screams, hey, what are you doing? And sometimes it's just getting out of bed and your body screams that. It doesn't stop me from working out, but at the same time, for me, nowadays, I feel like refereeing is going to be my way to go, simply because I want the listener or the person watching to understand the way I feel about this. As a wrestler, if I'm in a tag team match, well, I have to worry about the ring position of not only myself, but my partner and the two men on the other side and the referee. If it's a rookie referee, he could be in the wrong place. And I could really mess myself up. And so as a referee, if I referee a match, I only have to worry about one person, and that's me. If I'm in a tag match, I have to worry about a total of 5 people. And so I feel safer as a referee, body-wise. I don't want to go to an indie show that draws 150 people and end up in a wheelchair because of somebody, just messed up. And look, it's nobody's fault. It's the business. But it's always been a business to me. So I just try to think that way. I have been reached out to about a match as Scott Armstrong, not Dixie Dynamite. And on December the 2nd in Sylacauga, Alabama. And so I told the man I would be there, and I started stretching the other day, and my wife came out and said, are you having a spasm? Are you okay? And I just said, I'm trying to stretch out to see if I can still throw a super kick. And she said, oh my God, well, I don't know what it pays, but is it worth it? You look like you're in such pain. I just started laughing. I said, girl, I'm in pain every day. I just don't tell you about it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Now I stretch every morning, and like I told you, I work out in my driveway. I drag all my weights out in the driveway every morning and get my workout. And I try to really, really stretch a lot. I bathe in BioFreeze, and then try. So if anybody from BioFreeze is listening, I could definitely use that hookup. And so I just try to, look, when is my last match? I don't know, man. My dad, he died at 80 years old, and at 79, I know he had a match, and I think Johnny Swinger was his tag team partner. And so, because I saw Swinger not long ago when I did the Impact show, a couple of months ago, and we talked about it. And he said, Scott, I think I was your dad's last tag team partner. And man, I couldn't think of a better guy. If it wasn't going to be me or a family member, Johnny Swinger would be the guy. He's a good dude. And, but look, my dad went forever. And, like I said, he never wore knee pads. He always told me, when you learn to work, son, you don't have to wear knee pads. So I guess I'll never learn to work because I will always wear knee pads. But if I'm going to do this match on December 2nd in Sylacauga, Alabama, I'm going to have to wear elbow pads too. Maybe a full body pad. I'll look like the mummy.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Any more questions from us, Scott?
We have a lot more questions, but I think we're running out of time.
We got time for one more, right? Come on,
we got time for one more. All right.
Yeah, I'm fired up. Let's do it. All right,
we got a good question here, man. Johnny Sanders, opinion on the Pritchard dirty white boy angle where Kim faked the black eye. In his opinion, one of the greatest storylines ever.
So, at that point in time, look. Domestic violence is definitely frowned upon. It was then. It definitely is now. It would never be okay in the history of time. For the people that believed in that storyline, they bought it hook, line, and sinker. And a lot of your age, if you were 15, and watched that on TV, you bought it wholeheartedly. If you were 40 and watched it on TV, it's wrestling. Yeah. You know what I mean? You already know that's makeup. That really didn't happen. That storyline, I want to say we did that. Did we do that in Knoxville, or did we do that I can't remember, to tell you the truth, if that was Southeastern or not. Today, in 2022, that storyline would not even be the person that would bring it up in a production meeting, say, hey, I got an idea. We have her paint her eye and say she got beat up. That would be an immediate no, we're not going to promote that. Our company will not promote that and put that on television. Back in the day with no cable television, it was just 3 channels and rabbit ears. You got a 4th channel or whatever it was. It wasn't looked at by the upper echelon of television and television ratings, because if they had seen that, they'd have said, no, you're not putting that on our television programming. You know what I mean? But being wrestling, look, at the time, I wasn't about it, because at the time I was wrestling, and I always looked at my mom, and I even, at that time, my mom said, that's not good. And it's true, as a human being, that's not good. As wrestling storyline, it was definitely something that caught the attention of the viewer. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it did sell tickets. And if that's, at the end of the day, going to like we said, the gross at the press box, it sold tickets. So while I definitely did not agree with it then, don't agree with it now, it was something that the viewing public definitely hooked into. That's for sure. And I can assure you now, none of that ever happened. Dirty White Boy and Kim was her name, Dirty White Girl. They were a married couple, and they were great. And so that did not happen. It was just storyline. That's it.
Yeah.
But I do remember it.
Yeah, that's the kind of storyline that doesn't fly in 2022.
No, well, I mean, it really wasn't cool then, but they did what they did. I was just a kid trying to remember the next spot. I didn't have any say so in the business at the time. Hey, I know we're running to the end, Mike. So please allow me to say thank you to you, because you're always here. You text me, and if you're running late, we text, and you're always there for me personally, and I truly appreciate it. Also, Bones Coffee, Collar and Elbow, Donnie D, Christy, the people in my life on social media that always plug us and say positive things about us, and that's just so reassuring to see that. Because people every day people get caught up in their own life, and you don't know the obstacles, you don't know the positives, you don't know the negatives. My neighbor walked by this morning. I was working out in the driveway, and he said, "Morning, Scott. How you doing today?" And I literally had dumbbells in my hand, and I said, "Hey, I woke up this morning, dude. It's a great day." And he just started laughing and said, "Looks like you're making the best of it." I said, "Yes, I am." And then he kept walking. And that's the way I look at my life. And so I appreciate the people that always have positive things to say about, our podcast and the things we talk about here. I can't believe the number of episodes we've done. Every one is a new experience and always a pleasure, Mike. But I just want to say thank you to you personally. I truly appreciate it.
Well, yeah, man. No, that's not a problem for me. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy working alongside you, and literally, it has been the greatest honor of my life being able to do this. Like seriously, and the knowledge that you drop on me on almost a daily basis is is like I could not be more thankful for it. I absorb everything.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Now can I borrow $20?
Look, yeah, I got you. October 28th, I got you.
That's awesome.
Hey,
Well, hey, thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you to the listeners, too. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for supporting us. As always, like, subscribe, leave us comments, retweet us, follow us at WWE Armstrong on Twitter. I'm at Big Mike, the host. We're going to ease our way out of episode 17. Look at them guns. Scott Steiner would be proud.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.